A wise man knows you can have anything in this life that you want, but you cannot have everything in this life that you want. If you want millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, mega mansions, jets, cars, boats, you name it, you can't have a peaceful life, right? Or at least not during the upbringing of your business and upbringing of your life. But it doesn't mean that you can't manifest anything that you want. And I have this like really odd relationship with manifestation. I remember being in high school with these little notebooks, and it was called like the 369 method. I learned it was from like Nikolai Tesla, and it was like right in present tense, the goal that you want to achieve 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and then 9 times at night. I went through probably like 10 notebooks. I'm so grateful for $300 a day, 10K a month, right? Everybody's goal. I'm so grateful for 10K a month. I'm so grateful for 10K a month. And I do this 3 times in the day, 3 times in the afternoon, 3 times, or 3, 6, and then 9 times at night. And eventually I got to it. I make a lot more than 10K a month now. I mean, I spend 10K a day, just about. Fucking ridiculous. But was it the writing in the notebook that is the reason that I achieved that? I think there's a degree of universal like molecules that do attract in a way, because when you frame it like this, when you look at people that smoke weed, what does their friend group look like, right? They hang out with other people that smoke weed. Let's say people that skateboard. Skateboarders hang out with skateboarders. When you look at businessmen hang out with businessmen. So you can see like a manifestation in and of itself actively attracting certain things to each other, right? So we know that manifestation to some degree works. But then at the same time, it's like, what level do you need to take it to in order to like achieve things? And it's like, well, if I lay in my bed and I just write this stuff down on my, my paper, and that's all I do, will I ever achieve $10,000 a month? Theoretically, no, right? I don't know how powerful this shit is. I don't think you will, right? I don't think if you did nothing, like you smoke crack all day and you just sat there and wrote your little manifestations, would you ever achieve, that goal? I don't think so. I have a hard time believing that you will. But if you write these things down every day and then you build out a system and then you do something that almost guarantees you to be successful and you become successful, do you attribute your success to the manifestation, or do you attribute it to the things that you do, right? And so it's like my relationship with it is super, super weird, because at the same time, I want to tell myself happy thoughts and guide myself to, whatever that, goal, that end goal is. But then at the same time, it's like, do I really need to do that? And I think the answer is no. I think hard work beats manifestation. I think that manifestation is actually beneficial or helpful, because what it does is it keeps your mind aligned with whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. I mean, think about at night, when you get that really big spurt of motivation and you just think of all the things that you want to achieve, and you wake up in the morning and you're like, right? Sometimes you even forget. You're like, I don't really want to do that. Or you write down your goal list and you're like, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And then you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm not going to do that. And it's like, when you do any form of like manifestation, let's say like the 369 method that I was doing, I don't think that in and of itself is what, I don't attribute any of that to my level of success. I think what it actually does is it allows you to stay aligned and focus on the goals that you're trying to achieve. So if you wake up in the morning and write these things down, all you're going to be thinking about is those goals. So then based off your thoughts, right, which your thoughts are so incredibly important to your level of success, because however you think and the things that you think about are the actions that you do, right? If you think about smoking weed, you're going to go smoke some weed. If you think about going to the skate park, you're going to go to the skate park. If you're thinking about fucking around with your friends, you're going to go fuck around with your friends. Right? So like your actions are always stemmed from your brain, your consciousness. And so keeping your consciousness or your brain focused on very specific things then allows your actions to follow, right? If I'm constantly thinking, if the only thing I'm thinking about is making $10,000 a month online, what's the only thing that I'm going to do? Well, I'm going to go to work or whatever my job is, and I'm going to come home and I'm going to be like, okay, all right, time to hammer some of this stuff out. I got to figure out how to get to $10,000 a month online. And so I think that's really how I think that's really how manifestation works. I think it keeps you focused on the thing that you're trying to achieve, and then therefore allowing you to migrate that way and work towards that goal. And so when we look at like trying to manifest the life you want, like what does that look like? What do you have to do based off our newfound understanding for manifestation? Well, first and foremost, you don't need to open your notebook and start writing things down. You need to understand the principle of getting the life that you want. It has to do with building out, structuring whatever that looks like. Let's say it's, getting fit at the gym. Maybe you want a six-pack or something. If that's the case, do you write that down in your notebook, or do you do a bunch of research on gym and nutrition, right? And then you find the top people in that industry, right? David Lade, Dr. Mike, Sam Sulek, Greg Doucette or whatever. Find those top people in the industry, and then you start taking notes on everything, right? You learn about the nutrition, you learn about the gym programs and the protocols, you learn about different regimens, supplements, steroids. And then what you do is then you take a piece of paper. I'm not going to ask you to write your manifestation present tense goals on it. Take a piece of paper and you say, okay, I want to get a six-pack. And then underneath it, all of the steps involved that go into that. Well, one, I need to make my own gym routine. So then you make a gym routine, or you purchase one, right? Then you say, okay, I'm going to follow this. And then I need to make sure that I'm getting better every single day I go to the gym. I'm getting stronger, bigger, right? So then I use an app like Trainerize or NewGen or whatever it is. And then through that, or maybe even adopt a coach, right? Even hire a coach who's going to tell you the things that you need to do, right? But regardless, you're going to note your gym routine. These are things I'm going to do and make sure I'm getting stronger every time by tracking on a spreadsheet or an app. And then I'm going to balance out my nutrition. This is how many calories I currently eat right now. Am I overweight? Am I underweight? What does it look like? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to either eat more calories or less calories. And then I'm going to do studying and research on the things that I need to do in order to decrease or increase my body fat. Whatever it is that you're trying to do. Let's say six-pack, you need to decrease your body weight. So then you learn that you need to start losing calories. So then you do research on how to lose calories, right? And running, saunas, stuff like that allow you to just burn calories faster. And then you have your gym routine that's going to give you the six-pack or give you the muscles in your stomach. So then by the time all your calories are burned and then you have a lot of fat loss, then you have the six-pack as now shown. So it's like, did you need to manifest that? Or is manifestation just a motivator for building systems, right? Because systems are what equal the goal. For an example, the example I use a lot, 1 + 1 always equals 2. Well, 1 + 1, as a matter of fact, on a piece of paper, if you write that down, 1 + 1, that would be the system. That is the system to get me to my goal, okay? So when you look at like getting a six-pack and getting stronger, that's the goal. And then what's the system involved in it, right? Dialing in on my nutrition, dialing in on my gym regimen, getting stronger or tracking my progress. That right there is the system. So I think if you want to manifest the life you want, I think if you just don't have the motivation or the true desire to do it, then you can use a piece of paper and you can follow the 3-6-9 method, but all that's doing is just helping you stay focused on your goal. But if you stay focused on your goal, you don't need to worry about the manifestation, because writing the stuff on the paper does nothing for you. I don't believe that it's attracting molecules to you. Like I said, if you sit on your bed and you just sit there and manifest, is $10,000 just going to spawn on your laptop or spawn on your lap? No, 100% it's not, right? Imagine if you were manifesting, I'm so grateful for this random $10,000 that just spawned on my lap. Could that ever happen? Not really. No, not really. So the only way to really achieve things is to build the system instead of the manifesting. But you can use manifestation to help you stay aligned with whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. You're trying to achieve or whatnot. But other than that, I mean, this kind of is an extrapolation on any of our videos that we talk about building systems and not goals. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.